Go. Oh my gosh, yes. We need to keep this rolling. We need to keep this rolling.
Instinct. Welcome back to the Crouch Chatter Podcast, everybody. That is Mitch. I'm Jacob. We are continuing our college football win totals to get you all set and ready for the college football season, which should be here in like 8 months now. Not that far off. Well, tomorrow's July. So we got like 2 more months. We got July and August. And then college football season is back. For all those non-baseball fans, this is the worst part of the year. It's only baseball right now.
Well, I'm a baseball fan, so you know.
Exactly. I'm starting to like baseball a little bit more. I had fun at the Tigers game, even though we got destroyed because both pitchers on both teams were absolutely bad.
Yeah, go figure. For once, the Tiger offense actually got runs, and we still lost the game.
Dude, I watched both teams hit a 3-run home run. It was 11-7 was the final score. I'm like, jeez, I'm loving it because I was joking around beforehand. I'm like, who's ready to go watch the Diamondbacks Tigers 0-0 barn burner?
The sad thing is, the Tigers normally score like 2 runs at most per game. Then they all of a sudden score 7. We're like, yay, we have a chance! Oh, we gave up 11. Well.
Oh, man. It was a fun game, though. But we are back to college football until we are continuing the ACC. We are going down to the Coastal today. As you can probably see up there, we are starting with the defending Coastal champions, the defending ACC champions entirely, the Pit Panthers. We have their non-conference schedule is interesting. West Virginia, Tennessee, at Western Michigan, and Rhode Island. And then they play Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech at home. And they finish with a lot of road games at Louisville, at North Carolina, Syracuse, on the road against Virginia, Duke, and at Miami. Their win total is at 8.5. This one's hard. This one's really hard.
Yeah.
This is hard. Virginia and Miami are my 2 losses. I think those are probably going to be losses. Duke and Syracuse should be wins. Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech should be wins. At Louisville and at UNC are toss-ups. Tennessee's a toss-up, I think. Tennessee with Ben Hooker's pretty good. West Virginia, and then even at Western Michigan's like, they lost to Western Michigan at home last year, and they had a better team.
Yeah, I don't understand that one.
This seems hard to gauge. I don't want to, but I think I'm gonna go under. I think I'm gonna go 8-4. I am not super impressed with Keaton Slovis. I never have been. He could come out balling in a completely different system, and I mean he could. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't think it will. I would go 8-4. I think Virginia and Miami are losses. I think either Louisville or UNC you could lose. I think at Western Michigan or Tennessee you could lose. It's hard because this team is either it's one of those teams that it's like they're either going to win all those 50-50 games, go 9-3, or 10-2, or they're going to lose a couple of them, go 7-5, 8-4, 9-3. So I think I'm going to go I'm not as certain on this team. I'm going to go on lower and go 8-4. So I'm going to go under for Pitt.
Yeah, this is a very interesting start for the Pit Panthers as their first games are West Virginia and Tennessee. Yes, both home games, but those are still decent teams. And you head to Western Michigan, which why are they going to Western Michigan in the first place? But Western Michigan's not a pushover either. So that's a very brutal schedule right off the bat. I mean, West Virginia, that's not necessarily a great team, but I don't think many people really know this, but they actually got Jalen Daniels, the former USC quarterback who transferred to Georgia. He entered the portal again, and he's not going to be the starter for West Virginia. That's a good quarterback. I think many people really underestimate him. I mean, he's had a lot of injuries throughout his career. He hasn't really got many chances either. He has potential. And now he gets to be on a West Virginia team, which, the Big 12 is only offense anyway. So I mean, I think he can really thrive with the Mountaineers. It is a road game, but that's an interesting one right off the bat on a Thursday night, mind you. And then Tennessee. Tennessee's another team who's looking to, make noise. And I mean, they have Hendon Hooker, but I don't. I've never been a fan of their quarterback room. I'm not a Hendon Hooker fan. I'm certainly not a Joe Milton fan. But I anything's
Look,
better than Joe Milton. I'm just gonna say that.
if he is on one end of the end zone and the guy is at the other end zone, he will still find a way to overthrow him by 15 yards. That's just the Joe Milton way.
Yeah, exactly. And then they have the road game, like I said, against Western Michigan. So any of those games, I could certainly see Pitt losing. Not so much Western Michigan, but the first two, I could definitely see Pitt losing. And Rhode Island, they should beat Rhode Island. Georgia Tech's trash. Virginia Tech, they're decent, but it's a home game. I think Pitt should win that. Then Louisville on the road won't be easy. That's another 50-50 game. North Carolina, I'm not really big on the Tar Heels. I don't even know if they have anything left. They don't have Sam Howell, so I have no idea what's left on that Tar Heel team. So I give Pitt that win. Syracuse, that's a win. Virginia, I don't think they'll beat them. They'll beat Duke, and then they won't beat Miami, Florida. So, you know, I'll go about the same thing. I'll probably go 8-4 because I don't really know what Pitt's going to look like this year. Because last year, their entire team was really dependent on Kenny Pickett to Jordan Addison. That was their team. That was what kept Pitt running. That's what won them. They're all the ACC, and that's how they got to the Peach Bowl. And then, well, it didn't look great against Michigan State, but you know. Now Pitt doesn't have Jordan Addison because he transferred to USC, and now they have Keaton Slavis as their quarterback and not Kenny Pickett. Now that could work out, but you're still missing your great receiver, and you don't really have anything to replace him. That could be a very that could be difficult for for Pittsburgh to be able to handle. Who knows? They might, but that's gonna be a tough task to replace that combo, and I don't think they really have that. But I still think they'll be at least bowl eligible, so I'll go 8-4. I think that's reasonable for them.
And now we go to one of the favorites to win the ACC Coastal Final this year in Miami, Florida. Obviously, returning Tyler Van Dyke because he's a great quarterback, and now their head coach is Mario Cristobal. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, I would say so.
You start with a deceivingly easy until it's not non-conference schedule. You start with Bethune-Cookman and
Southern Miss, Mississippi.
Okay, Southern Mississippi. Okay, and then you'll go on the road to play Texas A&M. That will not be easy. But then you get to come back against Middle Tennessee State. Then you got North Carolina, Virginia Tech on the road, Duke at Virginia, Florida State at Georgia Tech, at Clemson, and Pitt. Their win total is 8.5. I think their for sure losses are Clemson, Virginia, and Texas A&M. That gets a 9-3. I don't know if I see them losing another game on this schedule. I think their toughest game outside of that is at Virginia Tech. Even that, I still see them winning. I think this team's pretty good. I think they'll go 9-3. I give them over. I think they lose to Virginia, Clemson, and Texas A&M, but I don't see them losing to anybody else. So give me the over on that with 9-3, but could be 8-4 if they trip up.
Yeah, this Miami, Florida team, I think, is going to look way better with having a good head coach now. I mean, of course they fired Manny Diaz as well. Everybody had been calling for. Everybody had so badly been wanting Miami, Florida to fire him and just get rid of him as their head coach. And now they finally did so, and they did the best thing possible. They brought in a former Miami, Florida player, an alumni, who's also a really good head coach and had been very good at Oregon. So, and you also, with Miami, Florida, you already inherit, like you said, Tyler Van Dyke, who's a very good quarterback. A lot of potential for him. Then you got a good. I mean, he has pieces to work with. He's got a decent recruiting class coming in. So I think Miami, Florida certainly is on the rise. The U could be back very soon, but you look at the schedule. I mean, Bethel Cookman. I think that's obviously a win. Southern Miss. They're a deceivingly sneaky team, but Southern Miss, I think Miami, Florida will still beat. Texas A&M. This is a very interesting early game because this could easily be like a really, really. This could be like anybody's game because really, honestly, we don't know what either team's going to look like coming into this year. Texas A&M obviously has one of the best recruiting classes college football has ever seen, but they're all freshmen. So it could take a big learning curve for all those guys to come together and play together. Miami, Florida has some more experienced players, so that I think that'll be a really interesting game. But I'll still give it to the Aggies with it being a Kyle Field. Mid Tennessee State, I think Miami wins that. North Carolina home game, they'll beat them. VT's not that special. They should beat the Hokies in Blacksburg. Duke is terrible. Virginia will be an interesting one. I think that's anybody's game. Florida State, I think that is a win for Miami, Florida. It is a rivalry, which makes it automatically a tougher game, but it's still Florida State. Miami should win. Georgia Tech's bad. They'll beat Georgia Tech. I think they lose to Clemson. They have a chance in that game, but I think Clemson takes it. And then Pitt is, I think, anybody's game there. So with Texas A&M being the one loss, and then you take your pick between a Virginia or a Pitt, I give them 10-2. I think this
You
hit.
know how I'm losing. You know how I'm losing at Clemson.
Oh, I'm sorry, 9-3, 9-3.
Right.
I forgot about the Clemson
Yes.
loss.
Well, wait a second. Miami's good, but
I forgot about the Miami one or the Clemson one. Whoops. Yeah, 9-3, 9-3. I forgot the Clemson loss. 9-3. Because Clemson they have a solid team, and I think in maybe a couple years, the more time Mario Cristobal gets to settle in at Miami, Florida, he's gonna bring in more recruits, and it's gonna be the same case with Lincoln Riley over at USC. The more time he gets to sit over there, now he gets to join the Big Ten. Thank you, yeah. Um, but the more time that these brand new head coaches get to settle in at their new programs, they're gonna start to attract more attention. Especially after this year, I think like the coaches you're gonna see, like the Brian Kellys at LSU, Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame, Cristobal at Miami, Florida, Lincoln Riley at USC. The more time those guys get to settle in and set out what they want, their system and what they're trying to do, they're gonna attract more recruits because more recruits know what to expect. So I think after this season, you'll see Miami take a jump forward, and possibly Van Dyke returns, and holy crap, look out if he does.
exactly. So now we move on to the Virginia Tech Hokies, who I really don't know about this season. We got starting out at Old Dominion, then we got Boston College, Wofford, West Virginia, and then we got at UNC, at Pitt, Miami, and at NC State. And then we got Georgia Tech, at Duke, at Liberty, and end the season against Virginia. Their over-under win total is 5.5. So to go over, they have to get to 6-6. I can see them winning against Old Dominion, Boston College, and Wofford. I can see them starting 3-0. West Virginia would be a tough one. I say for the sake of it, let's be generous. Let's give them that one. And then Georgia Tech, Duke, and Liberty. I don't know how good Liberty's gonna be. It's hard. This is a good win total because they're either going to be 6-6 or 5-7 because they got some pretty decent teams on there. I'm going to go 6-6. I'll go over. I think Virginia, Miami, NC State, and Pitt are 4 for sure losses. And then take your pick between North Carolina, Liberty, and West Virginia. But I think they can at least win one of those games. I think they beat Boston College, Wofford, Old Dominion. I think think they beat Georgia Tech and Duke. So I give them 6-6 solely because they get to play Georgia Tech and Duke. So I give them 6-6. I go just over, but they could go just under too. I think that's a good win total though. 5 and 5.5 is right where they should be. With North Nebraska at 7.5 wins.
Yeah, Virginia Tech's team once again, as like half of the other NCAA has had this year. They're having a new head coach themselves, Brent Pry, coming in from Penn State, former Penn State defensive coordinator. We know how good Penn State's defenses have been in recent years, so I mean, I don't mind the hiring by Virginia Tech. I think it was smart. But they should beat Old Dominion. I don't get why it's a road game, but they should beat Old Dominion. Then the Boston College, I think they can knock off the Eagles. Eagles just aren't that great of a team. Wofford, no, they'll beat Wofford. West Virginia, I'll give that to the Mountaineers. That's a heated rivalry and should be a very fun game. But I'm honestly I think West Virginia will be a sneaky team this year. I think they're a team that can easily be overlooked, and with I think finally Jalen Daniel, yeah, I always forget his name, but the former USC quarterback, I think it's Jalen Daniels or Jaden Daniels or something like that. But
Jaden Daniels was the ASU quarterback who transferred to LSU.
oh, all right. Well, his last name's Daniels. I don't remember what his first name is, but he's a good quarterback. He played well for USC in his first year. He had a torn ACL. He went to Georgia. He had a couple good games, but he ended up losing to Stetson Bennett. But I like West Virginia's team. Quarterbacked by him, I think they can definitely have a nice season. North Carolina, that's really anyone's game. I give Pitt the win against Virginia Tech and Miami. NC State, I think, will win. Then I think. JT Daniels. That's the guy I'm thinking.
The guy who got benched for Georgia legend Stetson Bennett.
Yeah.
Oh, JT Daniels.
JT,
okay.
There we go. Now I finally got the name right. Or we got the name right. Yes, JT Daniels. For some reason, I could not put his first name together. But for Virginia Tech, I think the losses from are probably Virginia, NC State, Miami, Pitt, West Virginia, and then I guess North Carolina. But who really knows? That can be a win. So I'll go over. I think they'll be bowl eligible. I think worst case scenario they go 6-6. So I'll stick with that for Virginia Tech. I think they go 6-6. They just get into a bowl game this year.
Wow. And then we got this one, which is honestly that's pretty low in my opinion. But we go to the Virginia Hokies, who still have Brennan Armstrong.
You mean Cavaliers?
Their schedule is Richmond, at Illinois, Old Dominion, at Syracuse and at Duke, Louisville, at Georgia Tech, Miami, North Carolina, Pitt, Coastal Carolina, and at Virginia Tech. A big reason why I think I have them winning the Coastal is because most of their 50-50 games are home. Like, Miami and Pitt, both home. That's really nice. Not to win both of them, but, their win total is 7.5. I think they easily, or at least 8-4. I mean, what? I think Old Dominion's a win. I think I know at Duke's a win, Old Dominion's a win, Richmond's a win, Louisville and Georgia Tech are wins. Virginia Tech should be a win. Syracuse and Illinois should be wins. But you could lose one of those. Coastal Carolina, probably still going to win, even though Coastal Carolina is pretty decent. And North Carolina, they should win. I think the only two real scary games are potentially Miami and Pitt, and then even Virginia Tech maybe as a rivalry game on the road. I mean, I've seen this team going 9-3, 10-2 off the sake of their schedule is stupid easy. I don't even know if they're that talented of a team, but I mean, Brennan Armstrong is a good quarterback, and like I said, their schedule is weak. Out of the teams they have to play from the Atlantic Division, they pulled Louisville and Syracuse. you can almost not ask for much more than that. Out of the teams on that side, you pull Louisville at home and Syracuse on the road. That's a good pull for them for the Coast for your game. And then most of their tough teams in the Coastal they have at home, which is awesome. So I definitely have this team clearing the 7.5 win total. I don't know what their win will be, but I have clearing that 8.5 or that 7.5.
Yeah, Virginia is another team who is having their own head coaching change. Of course, Mendenhall. Yeah, what's his first name? Brock
Bronco
Mendenhall.
Mendenhall.
Bronco Mendenhall. Yeah. So Bronco Mendenhall, he retired. He announced his retirement, which forced Virginia into a late head coach search, and they ended up getting Tony Elliott, the offensive coordinator from Clemson. So Virginia's team, and there's talk about maybe Brent Armstrong would transfer because, well, they're getting Clemson's offensive coordinator, new head coach. He might just want to leave and go somewhere else. He said no. He was staying with Virginia. So he is returning for the Cavaliers. He brings a good quarterback presence to this team. I think Virginia's solid overall. In their first 3 games, well, maybe even, holy crap, maybe even their first 5 could
Probably even their
all.
first 6. Look at even Louisville at home, and then Georgia Tech on the road. I see this team starting 7-0 or 6-1.
I mean, I think they can easily, yeah, 6-1 would. I mean, they could go 7-0. I think that Louisville game could be a 50-50, depending on what Louisville looks like. If they're not any good at that point, then yeah, that's going to be an easy win for Virginia.
I think
Um,
they're at least the best team. They're the better team in all 7 of their first games, I think.
I tend to agree with that. So I mean, you could look at 7-0 for the first half of that, and then I think at Miami or against Miami they take their first loss. North Carolina, they're not that good of a team. I mean, they still have Mac Brown as the head coach, but there's no Sam Howell. They're not really that special anymore. So I give that to Virginia. Pitt, I mean, it's at home. Who really knows? That's a 50-50. Coastal Carolina, they're a sneaky team, and if Virginia's not on their guard, Coastal Carolina could get the win. So watch out for that game. That's a trap game, I think, for me, especially with their next game being in Blacksburg against Virginia Tech. Huge rivalry, of course. And then speaking of, over in Blacksburg against Virginia Tech, I think that's anybody's game because it's a heated rivalry. Those two absolutely hate each other. And almost every year it ends up being a pretty good game. So I think it'll be more of the same. They both have brand new head coaches. They're both looking to pretty much get more or less fresh starts and look to compete in the ACC Coastal, since it'll still be the ACC Coastal this year because the ACC isn't dividing the divisions yet. I think they will in like 2 years or something like that. But for Virginia, I really see maybe their only losses I see being Miami, Pitt, and Virginia Tech. And then I go 50-50 for Pitt and VT because, I mean, I think they'll win one, they'll lose the other one. So, yeah, this schedule is incredibly easy. I'll go 10-2. I mean, there's nothing for them. There's just nothing on this schedule.
It's there's nothing on the schedule. Like it's super easy. Anyway, let's speed this along and let's breeze through these last 2 teams because it's going to be else.
Hmm.
Wow. North Carolina. Okay, so it looks like Florida A&M at Appalachian State and at Georgia State, 2 of which are 2 like decently 2 up and coming Sun Belt teams. Then you got Notre Dame at home. Virginia Tech at home. Then you play at Miami, at Duke, Pitt, at Virginia, at Wake Forest, Georgia Tech, and NC State. This is another Nebraska situation. I'm warning you right now. The win total is 7.5. I don't see that. I just okay. Let's be favorable. Let's say they go 3-1 in the non-conference, losing to Notre Dame. I think they'll lose one of or both to Appalachian Georgia State. Probably lose to Appalachian State, but we'll be favorable. 3-1. They beat Virginia Tech and they beat Duke. They lose to Miami. That's 5 wins. Being favorable, they beat Pitt or NC State. And being favorable, they beat Georgia Tech. They don't beat Virginia when they come to it. That still gives them the 7, which is under. And that's like saying they're going to beat Pitt or NC State. No. This team is way under 7.5 teams. I don't care who your coach is. This team is not good enough to go 7 wins. 8 wins, I mean, I would have to be 8 wins to go over, so I'm very easily going under on this North Carolina team. They might make a bowl. If they win some 50-50 games, they can make a bowl, but that's a tough schedule, especially including Notre Dame in that.
Yeah, like I've been saying like almost every single time about Notre Dame or not Notre Dame, about North Carolina. There's no Sam Howell. I mean, that was the big thing about the Tar Heels. They had a good quarterback. They had someone who could throw the football, and even though their entire team didn't know how to catch the football like the past 2 years, they still had a good quarterback who could make plays that kept them in the majority of their games. They don't have that this year. I don't even know who's supposed to be their quarterback. But they should beat Florida A&M. I mean, it's Florida A&M. I'd sure hope they'd win that. At Appalachian State, I guess I'd favor Appalachian State, but I think that's anybody's game. Georgia State's not good. They'll beat Georgia State. Notre Dame, they're not beating Notre Dame. VT, that's a 50-50. Miami, they won't beat the Hurricanes. They should beat Duke. And then they'll lose the next 3. They should beat Georgia Tech and NC State. I don't see that one. So I mean, with that, I give them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at best. They go 5-7, and I considered. I considered that. Well, yeah, 5-7. That's what I have for North Carolina. 5-7. They go just short of a bowl game. I mean, they don't have Sam Howell. I don't even know like what their defense looks like. Of course, I haven't paid much attention to North Carolina either, so I don't really know what the heck I'm talking about. But they don't have Sam Howell. I don't know who the quarterback's going to be. And even last year when they had Sam Howell, he didn't play that well, and it showed because they struggled throughout the year. So and they were 6-6 last year. So
with a better team.
Huh?
With a better team, they were 6-6.
Yeah, with a better team last year. So I'm not high on the Tar Heels. I go 5-7.
I think this might be the toughest schedule. No, this is the toughest schedule in the ACC. I am so sorry, Georgia Tech. Oh man, they start the year against Clemson. Then they play West Carolina. Then they play Ole Miss at UCF and at Pitt. Their non-conference is ridiculous. And then they play Duke, who they'll beat probably at home. They play Virginia at home. Florida State at Virginia Tech. Against Miami, at UNC, and at Georgia. So for those who are keeping it home, their non-conference is Western Carolina, Ole Miss, at UCF, and at Georgia. And from the Atlantic Division, they drew at Florida State and Clemson, which I think Clemson's a permanent rival, so they stay with Clemson pretty much every single year. Oh! Their win total is 3.5. If they get to 4 wins, give the coach an extension. If they get to 4 wins. This is a brutal schedule. I barely see them winning 2 games. I see them beating Western Carolina and Duke. Out of that, their other home games are Ole Miss, Clemson, Miami, and Virginia. I'm sorry, Georgia Tech, but you're not going over 2 wins, I don't think. I think a realistic expectation is 2-10. Maybe if they trip somebody up, 3-9. Again, 4-8. Give them an extension. That would be insane. Ugh. That's a brutal schedule. I think that's definitely the toughest schedule in the ACC, considering it includes Ole Miss, Clemson, UCF, and
Georgia.
Georgia on the road.
Yeah, that's something else right there. I mean, I knew they had Ole Miss, and I knew they of course had Georgia. I had no idea they actually had UCF too.
On the
So
road too.
yeah, at the bounce house, and like I said earlier, UCF on the road, they're nuts over there. So yeah, I'm going 10-2 too.
Yo, 10-2 and 10.
Because
Yeah, you
they're
said
beating
10
Western
and 2.
Kentucky, and then I guess they'll beat Duke. But I mean, no way they beat Clemson. No way they beat Ole Miss. They're both technically home games, but they're not winning either one. They're not beating Pitt. Virginia's way better. At Florida State might be their best chance of getting a third win, but it's Florida State. Look. Florida State's not good. They're better than Georgia Tech. And Virginia Tech, they're still better than Georgia Tech. Miami, Florida, they're certainly better than Georgia Tech. North Carolina, not a great team, but they're still better than Georgia Tech. And then Georgia, I think it might be a miracle if Georgia Tech actually scores a point in that game. But well, I guess we'll see when that game actually comes. But yeah, that's a awful schedule for poor Georgia Tech. Uh,
That would be bad. Much less just pile on a bunch of hard teams. And now let's finish out with good old Duke football. Their win total is 3.5 as well. Temple and North Carolina A&T they should win, and then they play the bottom dwellers in two other conferences. They play at Northwestern, at Kansas. I think both those teams are better than Duke, and they're road games.
Kansas too? You think Kansas is better than Duke?
Didn't Kansas beat Duke last year in Duke?
I don't think so. I didn't think they played last year.
They did. They did. I know they did.
Oh.
No, Duke beat them. Duke beat them. They might be better than Kansas. I might give them a third win, maybe, but it was at Duke. No, they did play last year. It was September 25th, 2021. Yeah, okay, Duke did beat Kansas. Wow, Duke started 3-1 last year. That's crazy. Okay, anyway, maybe they beat Kansas, and then everybody else they lost. So I think at best 3 wins. That's still under their win total. I think Northwestern's a better team. Northwestern's not good. Don't get me wrong. Northwestern's not good. Is it better than Duke? Probably. And they're at home too. So realistically, your best bets are North Carolina A&T, Temple, and Kansas. Maybe they trip up Virginia Tech. No, I can't make an argument. Duke maybe gets 3 wins. Again, same thing. 4 wins, extend the coach.
Yeah, well, everyone knows that Duke doesn't care about football. And really neither really does North Carolina that much either. I mean, they at least have some players and they're at least okay, but we all know Duke gives absolutely zero crap about football. All Duke cares about is basketball. Once they get to basketball season, that's when they really start. You know, it's funny that I have like a really old NCAA football game. I have NCAA football 2005 on my GameCube. It's like one of the 2 NCAA football games I actually own. I have that and then NCAA football 14. I just kind of played 2002 I'm sorry, 2005 because I grew up with it. And every time, like, if I end up playing a game at Duke, half the time they'll just show some fan holding some sign that just says, "When does basketball season start?" They don't care about football, and it really shows. Because I mean, what's the only player from Duke that has, like in the past few years, even made it to the NFL? Daniel Jones. Yeah, how's that one working out, Giants? So this Duke team is just not good, and they don't care about football. But I mean, I guess they could beat Temple, and they should beat North Carolina here in A&T. Northwestern's still bad, but I don't think Northwestern is bad enough to lose a Duke. Kansas is bad enough to lose a Duke, but I mean, that's a 50-50 because I guess it's in Kansas, but I don't really know what difference that makes. But I mean, Kansas beat Texas Tech last year, so.
No, they beat Texas.
And Texas. They beat both of them.
Oh, they beat both of them. Texas was funny, though. beating Texas.
That was bad. That was just bad.
That was funny.
But I mean, I guess that's like a 50-50 for me. So I mean, no, you know what? I'll give him Kansas. I'll be nice. I'll go 3-9. I'll go 3-9 for the Blue Devils. I'll I'll give him the win against the Jayhawks. They're once again, Kansas is like the same thing as Duke. They don't care about football. All they care about is basketball. So that's all they're gonna do. It's still funny when I still find it funny when I play Duke on the road and there's those signs of when does basketball season start? Yeah,
Exactly.
it's just great.
No, I just checked. They didn't beat Texas Tech. They got blown out by Texas Tech. The only team they beat, they beat two teams last year. They beat Texas and they beat South Dakota.
Kansas did.
Yeah, they didn't beat anybody else. They came close to beating TCU. They were only a field goal away from beating TCU.
I swear they beat somebody else last year. Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah. It might have been a different year. But anyways, that is it for the Big Ten. I am now probably going to go try and find a way to play NCAA Football 14 again. Because now you got me wanting to play some college football video games. Other than that, I will fall asleep watching Syracuse beating Clemson highlights. This is Jacob. That was Mitch. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Click the links above to see the rest of our videos. Peace out.